Hi, hello, this is Lanitra Rucker. Let's talk health and wellness. I am a medical laboratory technician, BS in healthcare management and healthcare administration, and I'm also a certified phlebotomist. My guest today is Kwana King. Hello, Kwana.
Hey, what's up? How are you today?
I am great. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a native of New Orleans, Louisiana. I am an LPN. I'm a CPR instructor. I'm a phlebotomy instructor as well, and also a certified phlebotomist.
Awesome. Okay. So today we are talking about mental health illness.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Mental illness is, oh God, it's so much to talk about with this.
Yes.
So many avenues we can go with mental illness. It affects everyone.
Yes.
It does mainly affect our African American culture. And the number one mental illness in the world is depression.
Yes, it is. It is.
You wouldn't think that, but it is the number one mental illness in the world. And it affects mostly women.
Yes.
Mostly women. Like 80, I think it's like 85%, last time I checked, it's like 85% women are the most that are affected by by depression, which is a form of mental illness.
Why do you think that?
Well, because as women, we were taught that we're the strong ones. We have to be strong.
Yes.
We have to take care of the house. We have to take care of the husbands or the boyfriends or whatever. We have to take care of the kids. We got to clean the house. We got to do the homework. We got to do the schooling. And a lot of times as women, we feel like we don't have that outlet because once we finish with the kids and the husband, it's like we really don't have that extra time.
Right.
Because now it's time to get prepared for the next day. And a lot of our friends are going through so much of the same things.
Yes.
We don't really recognize it. And that's one of the problems with mental illness. We don't recognize the signs. Because we're around people so much, we see things and we're like, oh, that's just how they are.
Right.
Oh, well, oh, she's just that way. Oh, don't pay her no mind. She's just that way. But those are signs. They're telling us that something is wrong. They're telling us that they need help.
Right.
They're saying something, but because we're so used to those same reactions, we feel like, oh, that's just who she is. And he as well, because men do suffer with depression and
Yes,
men
they
do
do.
suffer with
Yes.
mental illnesses, but it's mainly women and they feel like, oh, well, that's who she is. So we don't really look more into it. And then on top of that, women, we try to retract from our friends. We retract from our family and we use the family excuse, oh, I had to do this with the kids or I had to do this. And then we stay away from our friends. We stay away from our family. But then that's when you should know your friends.
Exactly.
Because then
They
you
should be
should know
checking up on you.
something is wrong.
Wrong. Exactly. And they should be checking up on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a sign. It's
is,
always a
definitely,
sign, but you
definitely.
just have to, because a lot of people are not medical professionals, they don't know what signs to look for, but that is just a message for them to pay attention to your
Right.
friends and pay attention to who's around you and pay attention to their actions.
Exactly.
Because then when their actions change, then you know something's wrong. Something's going on. It might not be depression. It could be something else. But you know something is wrong because they're not that same person that they've been the last 2 years or the last 6 months or the last 3 months.
Right.
And it's always all of a sudden thing. It's never, it's a lingering thing once the signs are out there.
Right. Especially when those triggers. And it's triggers. A lot of times we have triggers, and when those triggers hit, it's like, okay, you're constantly reminded of something, whether it's a date, a holiday, and that's when you notice, like, okay, that person seemed a little withdrawn during this time period. And, and I can speak on it in terms of, like, for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's the holiday season. When you come around the holiday season, what happens? It seems more than the norm.
Well, surprisingly, we talked about this on my podcast last week.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know my background is really OBGYN.
Mm-hmm.
So anything about that I can tell you.
Uh-huh.
And as we do health segments on my show,
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning as I'm growing,
Exactly.
learning about different things that I didn't know about, because as a nurse, as a doctor, we specialize in certain things.
Right.
So we don't really know about the other things unless we research.
Right.
Unless we talk to a different doctor or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, because they teach us only so much in school. But when you do a specialty, then that's what you learn. And when you work in that
Exactly.
so long, that's really all you know.
Exactly.
So we talked about this on my podcast last week, and it's actually, I didn't even know this exists. So it's SAD. And that's what it's a seasonal affect disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people call it the winter blues.
Yes.
But it's actually a disorder where around the winter time, around holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and doing some research, I found that it was other holidays like Mother's Day,
Yes.
Valentine's Day,
Father's Day.
holidays like that where we focus more on family. It's a disorder where people get sad and they do the same thing, and it mimics depression a lot because it's a lot of the same symptoms. It's the loneliness, it's the retracting, the not wanting to talk to anybody, not wanting to see anybody, not wanting to be around people, period, and especially family.
Right.
And like you said, it's those triggers, and a lot of times those triggers are, like, for me, Thanksgiving, my trigger is I don't have my mom. So I don't want to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Right.
I don't want to be bothered. I don't want nobody to talk to me. Just leave me alone.
Yes.
But that's my trigger, that holiday. And that's my disorder that I just found out was the sad disorder, because I just don't want to be bothered because I don't have my mom to spend those holidays with.
Right. And I know for myself, it's the same thing. Christmas was one of our favorite holidays. My mom isn't here as well. So, my father isn't here as well.
Right.
So I'm looking at that whole time from Mother's Day, the holidays come. And like this month, even in December, I lost my dad to COVID. So all of that back to back. And then those triggers, when the holidays come, I think about Christmas, all of those good times that we shared. And so you're up and down. You're happy one moment, the next thing you notice, you're like, wow, and you're sad. And then you find yourself in that state, you kind of withdraw from people.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird for me because Thanksgiving is that day. But my mother and I, we love Christmas. That's our favorite holiday. So it's kind of funny that Christmas time is a lift up for me. I don't know why. I need to kind of figure that out.
Right.
But Christmas is almost a lift up season for me because my mom liked to decorate. When I tell you I decorate every room in my house, it's decorated. And that's more of a happy time. I
Yes.
don't know why. I probably need to figure that out. But
It probably is.
and it switches.
It makes you
It's
feel
that
good.
low at Thanksgiving and that high because, like, oh, I get to decorate like my mom used to do,
Right.
and all this kind of stuff. But I think more family comes around Christmas, so maybe that's the lift up. But everybody doesn't have that.
Right.
So it's kind of like, how do you help them if you know?
Yeah.
But then there's those times you don't know.
You don't know.
So you
Right.
don't know what to do. And then most of the time, at Christmas time, everybody's so consumed with their families, and doing things for their families. And now we all have grandkids and kids and grown kids and great nieces and great grandkids, So it's kind of like we leave our friends by the wayside. So we have to check on each other.
Yes.
We have to check on each other. And I know there's this saying, oh, she's my friend and we don't have to talk every day and we don't have to see each other every day. But when we talk, I know things are good. But that's fine. But what about those in between times?
Well,
You know,
exactly.
just my thing to anybody is it takes 1 minute
Exactly.
to pick up the phone and say, hey, I got a busy day, but I just wanted to check on you.
And
You
keyword,
good?
pick up the phone.
Pick
Because a
up the
lot of
phone.
times we so used to texting.
Texting.
Text or send a message. Be Facebook.
Yeah.
Let's call people. Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Call.
I don't like texting because don't y'all ding me for this, but I'm one that don't answer text messages right away
Okay. Uh-huh.
because I don't, and it's a bad habit that I have that I need to
Mm-hmm.
change. When my
Right.
mother passed away and my father passed away, I felt like I have kids, but I feel like I don't need to walk around the house with my phone. When my
Agree.
parents were alive, wherever I was, my phone was.
Mm-hmm.
But now that they're not here, I don't feel like I need to do that. The kids got the house phone. If something go wrong, you can
Right.
call me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm bad. I'm not gonna say I'm bad for not answering texts, but I'm not near my phone as much anymore.
Right.
So it could be hours before I see a text
Mm-hmm.
or answer a text. So I just think when you're checking on someone, pick up the phone one
Right.
minute, 1 second. Even
Mm.
your parents. I have people that don't talk to their parents for weeks.
Mm.
How in the world do
Yes.
you go weeks without talking to your mom or your dad?
Right. Exactly. I don't know.
That's insane
It
to
is.
me. Even if you don't talk.
Mm-hmm.
1 minute. Hey mom, I'm busy today, but I just wanted to check on you, say I love you. Everything good? All right. When I get a minute, I'll call you back. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But just to go weeks and weeks without checking on your people, I don't
Yeah,
understand
I
it.
don't understand it either, especially when you know what it is to lose a mother, a father. So,
Hmm.
we look at things differently,
Yeah.
and so I know for myself, it's always a constant reminder. And I always tell those that have their parents, wow, I envy you for that because I look
I
at the
do.
little things
I
that you
do.
complain about
Hmm.
and I'm like, wow, I would do anything to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
my mother still here, to have my father still
Mm-hmm.
here. So it is important that we have to take care of our mental health. We have to, like you said, know the signs. We need to embrace, right? That person, check on that person, communicate. It doesn't hurt at all. Just take a second. Take a second. Like you said, pick up the phone,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And call.
and call. Just call.
Well, in the African American community, we have that a reason why we don't know
Mm-hmm.
is because we were brought up with that stigma of
Mm-hmm.
if you go see a psychiatrist, you're crazy.
Right.
So we feel like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this myself because if
Mm-hmm.
anybody knows that I'm talking to a therapist or psychiatrist, they're gonna think I'm crazy.
Right.
But I want everybody, whoever's listening out there, to know you do not have to talk you do not have to be crazy to speak to someone
Right.
because a lot of times we just don't have that extra outlet of somebody to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, you don't have to be crazy to talk
Mm-hmm.
to someone. Just talk to somebody. Let somebody know what you're going through. And especially for the men.
Oh, definitely the
Like
men.
men were
Mm-hmm.
taught, you can't cry. You're a
Right.
sissy if you cry. Don't cry. You gotta man up. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
no. Men are human just like us. They have
Exactly.
issues. They have feelings. They have emotions, and sometimes they don't know how to control those things because they were taught not to show those things.
Mm.
So they need therapy, counseling, and those things just like we do. They
Yes.
get depressed. They have
Mm-hmm.
all type of mental issues that they don't address because of those reasons. Those reasons, because of that stigma of you got to be a man,
Right.
you got to man up,
And
oh,
they
you
keep
better
it
not
bottled.
cry, and they
Right.
keep a lot of things locked in, and
Exactly.
then they wonder why these men around here killing people and doing
Yeah.
things because they don't have that safety
Mm.
net, they don't have that outlet. And then, of course, a lot of our young black boys don't have fathers around.
Oh, yes.
So they don't have that
Mm.
outlet. So we need to teach them that it's okay to talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to share how you're feeling.
Feeling.
It's
Exactly.
okay to share your emotions. Now, on the other hand, don't be whining 24/7, okay? About every little thing. You
Everywhere.
break a nail, you scrape your leg. That's something different. But when
Exactly.
you're dealing with things emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
because men, They're caregivers. They're the
Yes.
kings of the house. They're supposed to take care of the homes. They're supposed to take care of the woman and the kids. That's stressful.
That's a lot. It's a
That's a
lot.
lot for
It's
them
a
to
lot.
deal with. Fortunately, some men have their friends, their boys that they can talk to
Right.
sometimes. But then some men don't have that. And some men don't have their fathers. They're passed away or either they're not in their lives. So we have to let them know that it's okay to
Okay.
talk to someone. It's okay to share your emotions. It's okay to tell other people how you feel instead of keeping it bottled up inside. So we got to break that stigma with our black men because
agree.
it's horrible.
It is.
They need love
Oh yeah.
and they need care just like we as women do.
Oh yeah. I agree. I agree. To come home, like you said, after a hard day, long day of work, and then you can't share. You can't even talk to your partner.
Yeah.
Can't talk to your partner. You don't have anybody. And then you wonder why you have all these other issues in the relationship, in the marriage. All that follows. So it's very important. Get therapy. It's okay. It is okay to talk to someone.
And it's really okay. And we have to understand that it could kill us.
Oh, yeah.
Because mental illness, as we've seen a lot of celebrities and a lot of people taking their lives, but on the flip side of that, those illnesses can cause stress on your body. And what a lot of people out there who are not medical don't know is that stress can kill you.
Oh, yes.
It will make your body hurt like no other. You could have never had a broken bone, never had an accident, never had anything. But
Yes.
if you are stressed, you will have headaches, backaches,
Yes.
legs ache, toes, everything. You'd be like,
Everything.
what is going on with me? And you're not correlating the two. But stress will, I tell my patients, stress will take you out of here. Stop, talk to somebody. Do something about it.
Right.
And those illnesses can cause all of those things. So we have to check on ourselves.
Oh, definitely. I agree. And the thing is, a lot of people don't know some your insurance companies, they have where you can get free therapy. You just have to reach out, and it doesn't cost you anything. And it's confidential.
And believe it or not, a lot of jobs offer that too.
Right.
A lot of jobs, people look at your health benefits
Exactly.
and look at all of your amenities in your jobs because a lot of jobs
Offer, yes.
offer that. I can tell you, like a friend of mine, she works for Norfolk Southern, and they've been there for like 30 plus years. Well, they're retired now, but they worked for them for 30 plus years. And they had a program where if they went to work and told their supervisor, I'm stressed out, this job, I need a break. They literally paid for them to go on a vacation to a cabin to talk to somebody, and then they were able to relax and just take a break from the hustle and bustle of work and from family. So, look at your benefits, look at your
Yes.
insurance, look at your company. Every company has a website that you
Yes.
can go on to look at all the deals and discounts and things that they offer you. You'd be surprised at how many companies now are offering mental health support
Yes.
for their employees. And that's another reason they're doing that is to keep down the things that are happening on the jobs these days.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
So just check it out. I'm pretty sure, especially if you're in the medical field and if you're any type of frontline work, fire workers, I'm saying fire workers.
Yeah.
Firefighters.
Yes,
Firefighters,
Medics.
frontline workers, medics,
Yes.
secretaries, anything you deal with when you're dealing with the public, social workers,
Yeah.
therapists, they have these type of things for you to get away from the hustle and bustle of that. Even when you're teaching those things or you're training people to do these things or you're doing therapy or you're teaching them, they even have it for those people because they eventually need a break too.
Oh, yeah, because
They definitely need a break.
because you're taking on a lot.
Taking in all of the
Yes,
things,
everything that person is going through, and they put, you're trying to help them get through. That's a lot. That is a lot. And some people take all of that home. They don't know how to separate the two. And so when they get home, all that is left. And then because it's problems at home, because they don't. And then they need help. So you have to. That is the thing for the year 2025. We have to take better care of ourselves mentally, physically. Okay. And we need to it's okay. It is okay. And that's what we have to put out there, that it is okay to get help.
And it's hard. I know it's hard,
It is.
especially if you have a family, you have a
Right.
job. But one thing you need to just keep in mind, that if you're not healthy, you can't be healthy for your family. And that means
Right.
physically, emotionally, and mentally.
Exactly.
So you have to make sure all of those things are okay so that you can be okay to help your family or take care of
Right.
your family. Because if you're not, that's when the disruption comes in the household, because you're not okay and you don't know how to say you're not okay. And you're
Exactly.
bumping heads with your husband, and you're bumping heads with your wife, and you're bumping heads with your kids, and nobody's listening because everybody is irritated and agitated because they're mad because this is wrong and that's wrong and
Exactly.
they can't fix this and that. So you got to take the time to in the words of my friend RuPaul, if you don't love yourself, how the hell you gonna love
Love
somebody
somebody
else?
else. Come on.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
you got to fix yourself and you gotta love yourself and you gotta take time for you, because again, if you don't, there's no way. Like, if I'm broken, how can I help you?
Exactly.
So, and a lot of times that's happening in households. But again, we have those stigmas that are on the African American people, the
Right.
culture. Like, you can't cry.
Yeah.
You crazy if you do. We have to stop that. We
Yeah.
have to stop that.
Yeah.
And we just got to start spreading more love and more peace and more
Right.
joy. If we touch one, our job is done.
Exactly. And now, it's so convenient now, even with therapy. You can even do therapy virtual.
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 Absolutely.
I mean, you can sit and have a therapy session virtual. How
Do not-
convenient is that?
You do not have to leave the confines of your home.
Exactly. So all those getting in the shower, crying it out, I mean, the stories, I've heard them all, and, oh, I just get in the shower and I just cried out and just go to bed, and next day continue on, you know, we hold it.
But what happens after you cry?
Right.
It's still there.
Yeah.
And you're not dealing with
You're
it.
not dealing
So
with the
you
problem.
have to deal with it. You can cry all day,
Mm-hmm.
but only thing's going to happen is you're going to cry again.
Because you're not getting to the root of the problem.
And you're going to cry again.
Exactly.
And you're going to cry again. And you're going to keep crying and keep crying and keep crying. And nothing's getting done. So you're not healing. You have
Right.
to heal. And one thing we talked about in my mental health retreat, one of the first things we talked about is those childhood traumas.
Oh, yes.
We have to get the childhood traumas are leading into our adulthood. And a lot of times we don't deal with it until we're adults because we're kids. We can't deal with it.
Yes.
Our parents brush it off the side. Oh, it's okay.
It's okay.
All right, baby, And when we get older, it starts affecting our life. So now we have to do something. But if we don't address those childhood traumas, we can't deal with our adulthood. We can't, because we have that block. There's something that's bothering us. There's something that we definitely have to talk about and get through. But if we don't, adulthood is not the same.
Right. So going back, let me just go back a little bit. That mental health retreat, I had the pleasure of attending your mental health retreat. It was amazing.
Thank
So
you.
many women that came together. You had some amazing speakers that were there lined up.
Many women.
And not to mention the gifts that were given.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, they were, yes, amazing.
Thank you.
And everything was so nicely, but I felt it was a connection. We connected in so many ways. We laughed,
We
cried. And one of my favorite part of the retreat was when we stood in a circle and everybody was able to write down something on a piece of paper and we burned it. We said something and we burnt and let it go.
And let it go.
That was one of my favorite part of that retreat. It was so many, but it was just, and the speakers. I mean, tell us a little bit about that mental health retreat.
Well, how I came about doing the mental health retreats is I had been talking with a friend. We talked just about every day almost.
Mhm.
And it was so much that was being said. But this particular person was blaming her mom for what was going on now in her childhood.
Mm.
Her mom is now deceased, been gone for years. So I was like, listen, there is no way you're going to blame your mom for what's going on in your life right now,
Right.
because you are an adult. You can make your decisions. Now, anything that happened to you when you were a child that you had no control over, I understand.
Right.
We need to get help for that.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot continuously blame your mom for losing your house, for this going wrong in your marriage, or this is happening in your home and you
Right.
don't know, or this is happening to you,
Mm-hmm.
but you feel like it's happening to you because of what your mom did when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That just threw me, and I'm like, you know what, God, I need something. I need a way
Mm-hmm.
to help this person, because I can be very blunt. I'm from New Orleans. We could be very blunt.
Mm-hmm.
So I could be very blunt. So I prayed and I asked God, I was like, I need a way to get through to her
Mm-hmm.
where she's not feeling like she ain't helping me. She just,
Single
yelling at me.
male.
She's just saying
Right.
stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk to her and things like that. So he put it on my mind to do this retreat. And I was like, God, you what? A mental health retreat? What? Okay. And so I put it out there for a few people and nobody answered.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I ain't going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not going to do it. And about 2 weeks later, doing my little morning prayer, my morning read, and God was like, I gave you an assignment to do.
Mm.
What you doing?
Right.
And I'm like, but ain't nobody. He said, I gave you an assignment to do. So then I got back on and I was like, okay, let me just put this together. Let me do this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Blah, blah, blah. I invited certain people. This time I personally invited women.
Mm-hmm.
So when everybody was coming together, I was like, oh my God, it's coming together. Okay, God, I see you. I see you working. I see you working. And so that was my whole reason. And surprisingly for me, I didn't realize how much I needed that.
Mm.
Just as well as you all did.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, dang, so this is really why you wanted me to do it. Because I can't help them if I can't help me. So that's how it all came together. And then once I started inviting the ladies, then I said, okay, well, who's going to talk to them?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, let me reach out to some therapists. And I had an overwhelming response that I kind of had to pick a few and say, okay, well, I can only use this many because it's only this. And I had no idea how it was going to go.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what format or, I knew we was going to do brunch, but I didn't know who was going to talk, who was going to do what we were going to talk about. I had no idea. All I knew is that I did what he asked me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to have to lead me the rest of the way because
Right.
I didn't know. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
I called Tina B. Shouts out to
Shout out Tina.
TLA, who is
TLA.
always there.
Yes.
Tina is always there for
Yes,
photography and
she is.
videography. When I call her, it's like, Tina, I need what you need, what time. She never questions anything.
Right.
So I called her. She's like, I'll be there. And then I'm like, okay, I got to get this on video. There's people out there that need this. They need to see this. And so we got in there and I was like, okay, but I got to give them something. So I just reached out to a couple of vendors that I know. And I said, listen, I'm doing this mental health retreat. I want to give the ladies some gifts. What can you give me? What can you donate? Donations was coming in. They was just sending all kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, God, I see you working. I see you working. So it just all came together.
Yes.
I guess he was like, "You're not going to give up because I gave you something to do."
Right.
And it was just so fulfilling to see how many lives were touched,
Mm.
how many lives were changed in that moment, and just breaking the stigma of women can't come together without fighting or fussing or
Mm.
doing anything like that. So it was just awesome. And I thank you guys for coming.
Yes.
And, I continue to do these retreats every year with a different purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So the next retreat coming up is in May.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is about getting back to you because we did the childhood traumas and we did the boundaries and the
Yes.
friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So now the
Mm-hmm.
next thing to do is now that we're getting there, we need to get back to us. Because once
Yes.
we get back to us, now we
Mm.
can start helping other
Other people,
people.
exactly.
So that is the theme for next year, getting back
Yeah.
to us.
And I'm so looking forward to that next retreat. And one of those little gifts that was actually inside our gift bag, it was the one with the little marbles.
Oh,
That one. Yes.
in the jar.
Yes, in the jar. So tell us a little bit about the little jar.
Well, actually, I didn't know much about that.
Uh-huh.
Tanika, who is a licensed therapist,
Hmm.
she had lots of little things for us to do.
Hmm.
So I think it was, I don't even remember exactly, but I think it was these marbles and she gave us a jar that if you didn't fill the jar up, then that was too much,
Hmm.
So we had to take some things off of our plate.
Hmm.
So we also talked about boundaries.
Yes, we
And
did.
boundaries affect our mental health, whether we know it or not.
Oh, yes,
And
certainly.
one thing that surprised me was talking about what people do to you and
Mm-hmm.
how people treat you and how people handle you.
Mm-hmm.
And what Tanika told us was if you don't set boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't tell a person how you want to be treated,
Right.
then they don't know.
Exactly.
So basically, if I treat you wrong,
Mm-hmm.
you can't get mad at me because I treated you that way. Because you never told me how you expect me to treat you.
Yes.
So I was like, well, wait a minute. Just in
Mm-hmm.
general, as an adult, you should know how to treat people. And that's me
Yes.
going off like, I ain't telling nobody how.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's not the way it goes.
Yes.
You have to literally, and moving forward from that day, 2.5 years
Uh-huh.
ago, because this May will be the third mental health retreat, I set boundaries and I look, this is what we're not going to do. This
Right.
is what I expect. So when you waver from that, then now I could get mad because
Exactly.
I've told you.
Up front.
But through throughout my life, I've never knew that I had to tell you.
Right.
I just felt like I'm a person, so treat me the way people are supposed to treat people. But
No,
they don't do
it
that.
doesn't because here's the thing. You cannot expect people to think
Like
as
me.
you or to do and I had to learn that too because I'm always thinking this is what I would do.
Yeah.
But we can't always assume that's what the next person would
Mhm.
do or how they're going to act,
Yeah.
right? So we have to set boundaries, let them know up front, this is what, and once you do
Mhm.
that, then that's it,
That's it.
right?
That's it.
That's it. So we have to, and that's something that we all have to learn,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I have to tell myself the same thing, so it's something that once you set those boundaries and look, I can't get mad at you if I didn't tell you, but once I do,
Mhm.
it's different, right?
That was a little
It's
hard for me to
completely.
accept though,
And she, yeah, and
because
the way she put it out,
yeah,
it was like, wait a minute, hold up.
yeah,
Because I never
yeah.
looked at it that way. But then it just made you think and say, oh, wow, really?
Hmm.
Okay,
So that's why.
that's why.
Okay, but
Exactly.
still in my mind, I'm like, I'm an adult. People should know how to treat people. But again, when she broke it down, that if you don't tell them, they don't know because a lot of people weren't raised the right way,
Exactly.
like you or like I.
Yeah.
They weren't raised the right way to know how to treat people. They
Yeah.
only treat people the way that they were taught.
Right. Right. So
And
you can't,
sometimes
yeah,
that's not always good.
exactly. And then, going back to the household, you know, again, you don't know whether the grandmother
Hmm.
raised them, both parents,
Hmm.
it doesn't, you just don't know. So again, we can't expect people to think like
Yeah.
and I see it all the time. I do a lot also in the community,
Hmm.
helping others in the community. So especially during the holiday season, I've seen it. Oh my gosh, it was a lot, and again, I felt like a lot of people have gotten away from the reason for the season, right?
Absolutely.
So, the biggest thing, again, I had to think, okay, don't react to what this person just said to me because you are in need for your children during this time, right? So to ask, and I'm just giving little,
Hmm.
to ask for a PlayStation, the newest gaming system for your child for Christmas, and people are helping you, right? So then you say, okay, let me go back down. Remember, I can't expect people to think like I would think or do as I would do,
Hmm.
okay? Because
Right.
I'm thinking, like, why would you ask? And you have people that are genuinely helping you right now, you know?
Absolutely.
So you kind of like, let me step back
Hmm.
and, you
Absolutely.
know,
Um, those are the people who were not trained properly or were not raised
right.
properly. So they don't know, a lot of people don't know how to accept help even though they need it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look at that. And it was good for
Right.
you to step back and say, you know what? Because even though you're helping them, they don't know how to accept the help that you're giving them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that wall sometimes to say, well, I want this because they don't know how to accept.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to make you feel like they're not appreciative, but they are.
Right.
But they want to make you feel like, okay, well, I want this because, but instead of saying, thank you, I appreciate it, anything,
Mm-hmm.
they don't know how to do that.
Right.
So a lot of people put up those walls, but those walls are different walls. They can
Mm-hmm.
be verbal walls, they can be standoffish walls,
Mm-hmm.
they can be those ignoring you walls. So
Right.
there's a lot of walls that
Walls.
people put up.
Mm-hmm.
And that could have been hers and not, or his or whomever. And that just their way of saying thank you and not saying thank you, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But also, you have to think, is that a part of a mental illness?
Oh, yes. Right.
So it could be. And mental illness shows itself in so many ways.
Oh, yeah.
It could be along that depression line, but it can be they don't want to take a shower anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to comb their hair
Don't want to
anymore.
leave the
They're not
house.
taking care of their
Mm-hmm.
personal
Hygiene.
hygiene.
Yes.
They're not cleaning their house. They're
Mm-hmm.
not cleaning their cars. They're not cooking.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing anything that they used to do.
Mm-hmm.
So again, those are part of those signs of depression, and those are part of those signs of mental illness.
Right.
Something's going on somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if we don't check, we don't set boundaries, we don't
Mm-hmm.
check, we don't do these things, then we don't know. And they
Mm-hmm.
don't know. And then we don't know until somebody's putting rest in peace so and so on Facebook
Right.
or rest in peace so and so on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. And you're
Right.
like, what?
Well, what happened? Well, why didn't they
Why
reach
didn't they
out?
reach out?
But they were trying to reach out.
The signs were
The
there.
signs were there.
And
Exactly.
and one thing everyone should know, with mental illness, there is always a sign.
Oh, yes.
There is always a sign. You just have to recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to know those people.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a sign. But one thing I can say about mental illness and suicide,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
if someone is going to kill themselves or get rid of themselves from this world, they will not call you and tell you. They will not post it on Facebook. Because if someone really wants to kill themselves and get rid of themselves from this world, they don't want anybody to stop them.
Right.
So when you get those calls or when you see those on Facebook, I'm about to do this, you need to get to them.
Right.
They're thinking about it.
Yes.
So that's that sign.
Because they're crying out for help.
They're crying out
They are
for help.
crying out for
They
help.
are crying out for help. Those are those signs that we have to pay attention to. But more than likely, if somebody wants to commit suicide, those are the ones that are going to leave a note for you.
Yes.
For you to find after they're gone. Because they don't want anybody to stop them. They are just done with life and they're done with being here. So if somebody's calling you and telling you I'm about to kill myself, it's serious.
Don't
because
take it lightly.
they want you to stop them.
Yes.
They want help. They're crying out for help. So go to them. Go and do whatever. But normally, if somebody wants to really, really kill themselves and get rid of themselves, they're not calling anybody. Right. They'll leave a note, and some of them won't even leave notes. You'll just find them after it's all over.
Right.
But if you ever get that call, if you ever see something on Facebook, y'all, please find those people. Yes. Because they're contemplating it, but they're crying out for help so they don't actually have to go through with it.
Right. They wanting somebody to come to show up.
They wanting somebody to show up.
Yes, to show up.
Absolutely.
So don't take it lightly.
Don't take it lightly.
Don't take it lightly. Don't. You know, I've heard, oh, they just want attention, or they're not going to do it. No. They are crying out for help.
They need help. Don't ever just think that they want attention. They do want attention.
Yes.
But they want the attention of help.
Yes.
They want somebody to talk to. They have it's balled over now. And it's too much. So now they need that help. So now they're going to do this. They're going to put Facebook and call you up and talk to you and then say, you know, I just, and the main words and the main keys are, I just don't want to be here no more.
I'm tired.
I just don't feel like anybody loves me. I just don't feel like anybody cares about me.
I'm alone.
I feel so alone.
Yes.
Those are some key words to try and recognize when you're talking to someone. Those are those words. They're letting you know that they're getting to that point and they don't want to result into actually killing themselves. They're crying out for help.
Right.
So those are some key words that you really need to look out for and listen for. And the main ones is I'm tired and I don't feel like anybody loves me or care about me. Because when they say that, they feel like I don't need to be here if nobody loves me.
Right.
I don't need to be here if nobody cares about me. So, and then I just feel so alone. Those are some definite key words that you need to listen to when your friends are talking, when your family's talking, when your kids are talking.
Oh, yes.
Those are some key words you need to listen for because you know that, okay, I got to do something because there's a problem.
Yeah, and it goes back to getting help. It's okay.
It is.
You know, whether you're a child, I mean, the children, they need help too. Okay. They need therapy. And a lot of times, like you said, it's the generational, you know, and so mom needs help, dad needs help, and it all triggers down to the children.
Yeah.
They need help. And it's okay, again, to speak to someone to get therapy, but we have to break that. We don't do that.
Yeah. We have to break the generational curses. We have to break them. We have to do it.
We have to.
We definitely do.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Kwana. Yeah. I really appreciate that. You know, you're enlightening and letting them know, you know, give insight on just mental health, you know, and that sad seasonal, you know, and, you know, it's just, you know, and yeah, it's crazy.
And those are the symptoms for that as well. For the seasonal affect disorder is, the same things as depression. Like
Right.
depression signs and symptoms mimic
So,
so many other signs and symptoms of mental illness.
yes.
The body aches, the
Mm-hmm.
loneliness, all of that stuff. So, you never know what realm you're in, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're having those things, it's always nice to just go get checked out, because you just never know what area you're in,
Mm-hmm.
because they mimic so much of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just always good to just go talk to somebody. Even
Yeah.
if just talk to God, if to talk to him, talk
Right.
to somebody. You got to let it out, because a lot of times we just keep it in. We
Mm-hmm.
don't say nothing.
Nothing.
We don't
And
say
even
anything.
writing,
Yeah.
for some that
I'm a
helps.
journal. I do write.
Right. Write it out.
Yeah.
It's okay to write it out, and go back because you got to get it out. You
Yeah.
have to get it out. You have to release it, because if not, it's going to continue and it's going to continue. It's going to be a cycle, So definitely, I agree with that.
And we're so afraid though of saying something and then talking like I'm talking to you in confidence,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm afraid that, oh well, she gonna tell so and so,
Right.
and maybe you might not think I'm crazy, but when you tell Jackie from up the street, she
Yes.
gonna be, girl, that girl crazy. And then it could alter the way you see me. So
Right.
that's another reason why we don't talk to people.
Right.
We don't talk to people
Yeah.
because we're afraid of judgment.
Exactly. And
We're
it goes
definitely afraid of
back
judgment.
to everything stays in the house. Growing up, what happens here stays here. Don't you go to school telling those people. Don't you go to work telling them
Yeah. Yeah.
what's going on in this house. It stays
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And so it's unfortunate that
Hmm.
that is still a thing in many households. And that's why we have the issues, the problems that we have today with mental health.
That's why so many little kids are getting molested by their stepfathers and fathers, mothers,
Right.
stepmothers. And because of that stigma too, that's another generational curse that we need to break.
Yes.
Of course you don't want the kids blabbing everything
Everything
that
out.
goes on in your house, but you need to let them know that it's safe if somebody does them something and you're
Mm.
not around to tell someone else.
Right.
And another thing about that is today we're so wanting to be our kids' friends till we're not being parents.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
not your friend. I'm your
Right.
mama. I'm
Right.
not your friend. But I leave the door open that you're able to come and talk to me if there's an issue.
Yes.
But I'm not hanging out with you. I'm not
Mm.
hanging out with your friends.
Mhm.
I'm not drinking with you. I'm not drinking with your friends.
Right.
I'm your mother. I'm not your
Mm.
friend. But at the same token, we need to leave the lines of communication open with our kids so that they know, oh, well, he did this to me. I can go and talk to my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I can go and talk to my dad. But sometimes we have the parents that are not the friends, but then the kids are scared to talk to them.
Mm.
So then things are happening to them, and then they're not going to tell mom and dad because they're like drill sergeants, and
Right.
they're afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a thin line between the friendship and parenting,
Mm-hmm.
but you still just make sure your kids are comfortable with
Right.
coming talk to you. You don't want them learning things in the street
Exactly. You
because
definitely, yeah.
they ain't gonna tell it to them the right way.
Right.
They're
Exactly.
not gonna get it the right
No, they're
way.
not going to get it the right way. I agree. I agree. I am just, whew, it's been a lot.
It
It's been a lot
is.
today, right, huh,
Yes,
Kwana? Talking
yeah.
about mental health because it's
It
so
is.
much.
It really is.
Right. And it goes hand in hand also with, the whole mental health, but we talked about also grief and it's just so many, but again, it's so many levels to it, right? So, but most importantly, we need to do what? Get help.
Get help. Yeah.
So, to get help, who do you suggest that they reach out to?
Well, most of the time they don't want to talk to family.
Right?
That's the first thing. If anybody has insurance, always reach out to your insurance
Mm-hmm.
provider
Right.
to see who is in your area or who accepts your type of insurance. Every last type of insurance out there covers mental health. There is not one that does not cover mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So you just need to reach out. You can always call your insurance company 800 number. You can always look in your little catalogs
Mm-hmm.
and they'll tell you. But also you can always ask, "Hey, do you know somebody?"
Mm-hmm.
Cuz we all know somebody.
Right.
And if we don't know somebody, we know somebody
Somebody
who
that
knows
knows
somebody.
somebody. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people feel more comfortable going with someone that a friend of theirs know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why we feel more comfortable
Right.
because somebody knows them.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I would rather talk to somebody who nobody knows.
Mm.
They don't know me and they don't know nobody I know. So there's no judgment. But
Right.
therapists won't judge, but a lot of times that's what we think.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to judge us.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say reach out. Facebook is a really good, a lot of people don't like Facebook,
Right.
but Facebook is a really good platform for information.
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram. I'm not a big fan of TikTok, but those platforms are really big for information.
Yeah.
You can put it out there. I've seen. I'm looking for a car. I'm looking for this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's hundreds of comments. Oh, here's this person.
Mm-hmm.
Here's that person. So that could be an outlet as
Right.
well. And you never have to say it's for you. You can just
Right.
say anybody knows a therapist, like I did for the
Yes.
mental health
Oh,
retreat.
yes.
I'm looking for a therapist. I'm looking for a psychiatrist. But I did say for a mental health retreat, but they didn't know the extent of it.
Right.
So just ask. Just
Mm-hmm.
ask somebody. My mom always told me the most stupidest question is the one that's not asked.
Right.
So
Exactly.
so just ask somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask.
Okay. Okay. So is there anything else that you would like to just kind of leave the viewers with today? Sum it up.
Um yeah, I would just like to say check on your people and check on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There is always somebody out there to talk to. You can reach out to Lanitra.
Yes.
She is also a part of this amazing organization, Elite
Yes.
Dolls of
Shout
Faith,
out.
and they
Yes.
do have what do you call y'all line?
We actually, Elite Dolls of Faith, the acronym for dolls is actually delivered of life lessons. So we actually in 32 states. So we help people all over, whether we're providing resources, a hand up and not a handout, but we also provide food, resources,
Right, but you guys have the
anything.
crisis
And we
line.
also have the
Yes,
crisis line.
that's the main thing
Exactly.
for the mental health. Yes.
Yes. So you can reach out and we will definitely provide you with some resources
Mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just reach out, y'all. Somebody will listen,
Yes.
and somebody's there. That's all.
Exactly.
And take care of your health, your mental.
Your
Anyway.
mental. That's right. So
And thank you
going,
for having me.
of course. So what would you like to leave them with from you, Miss Kwana, for 2025? What is it?
2025, just be 2025, just be yourself. Strive for any goal that you want, that you think about. You are never, ever, ever too old to achieve anything that you want to achieve. I'm going to ask my sis to post my flyer on her podcast about the mental health retreat. And if you can join us, that would be great. The theme is Getting Back to You. It'll be May 29th through June 2nd in Montego Bay, Jamaica. So I'll see if she can spread that out for you guys. But just check on you, get closer to God, and just know somebody is always there to help you.
All right. Thank you so much,
You're
my friend,
welcome.
my sis,
Yes.
Kawana King. I
Thank you.
appreciate you
Thank you for
so
having me.
much for coming and
And
taking the time.
congratulations on your podcast. This
Thank
is
you.
much needed.
Thank
There's
you.
so much health information out there. There's so much going on in the medical world, in the medical
Right.
field. So thank you for doing this. We need this. We
Thank
need
you.
this.
Thank you
And
so
congratulations.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's my whole goal, is to actually just share and help and put the information out there for
Yeah.
the people, because a lot of times they don't know,
They don't.
or they don't know where to go to find out. So that was my whole objective. And I
And
appreciate
you
you
did it.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, this is Lanitra Rucker. You talk with health and wellness. Again, I will see you next time.